I think it's fair to say, one of the most beloved guys out there in the movie business or TV business for that matter is Giancarlo Esposito. Like there's no division when it comes to Giancarlo Esposito. Ask anybody. Oh, I love him. He's great. I mean, we got together with him recently, right? Mm-hmm. In Los Angeles, and the dude couldn't have been friendlier, nicer, going out of his way, like thinking, oh, is it even appropriate to shake his hand? And he pulls you in and gives you a great big hug. I mean, that's what he does. He's amazing, and people are loving him in the various projects he's doing. And there's been a lot of whispers about him lately when it comes to comic book movies. For instance, there have been a lot of whispers that he could end up being a Charles Xavier or a Magneto in upcoming X-Men films. Maybe. Haven't heard those whispers in a while, but those have been out there. And then some speculation about who could he be if he ever joined DC. Well, at a recent comic convention, Giancarlo Esposito was on stage and somebody in the audience specifically asked him about whether or not he would ever consider doing, something like a DCU, especially now that James Gunn is running it. And what he basically said, here's an image of it here. I won't play the video just in case of copyright thing, but basically, once asked that question, Giancarlo's answer was basically, well, I'll tell you this. Me and James Gunn have been talking, and maybe something will happen pretty soon. And that's all he said, right? He didn't confirm that he's going to be in it, but it also wasn't one of those things where we've heard some others saying, yeah, me and that guy talked a year ago or something like that. It was, yeah, James Gunn and I have been talking about maybe joining the DCU, and you might be hearing something soon, which is exciting to say the least. Now that, of course, gets our little fanboy brains running about, oh, who could it be? Who could he possibly? Maybe a James Gordon? Maybe a Two-Face? Maybe more of a supernatural villain? Maybe a Brainiac? Maybe you could see like a Giancarlo Esposito as a Brainiac. Maybe another Green Lantern. We already know there's going to be multiple Green Lanterns out there. I don't know. Whatever. I just know, put him in it. I'm all on board. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Marine Lair. All of us as guys are always looking for shirts that look good, but more importantly, are comfortable. Now, I want you to imagine the softest thing you've ever worn, and that's Marine Lair. Marine Lair is the go-to brand for great fitting and stylish closet staples. Based out of California, where we are, Marine Lair clothes are that perfect mix of laid-back style that also looks and feels premium. And these t-shirts stay soft no matter how many times you wash them. It's time to invest in a wardrobe that will actually last. For a limited time, our listeners and viewers get an exclusive 15% off discount with the code Campea at marinelair.com. Like many of you guys, when I looked at Marine Lair's website, I could tell how good their clothes looked. But it wasn't until I got my hands on them and actually put them on that I knew just how unbelievably comfortable they are, which for me is the most important thing. And guys, how many times have you felt that you were in between sizes when buying clothes? What's cool about Marine Lair is that they have in between sizes. You finally no longer have to make that difficult choice between medium and large and extra large. I think we can all admit that the perfect tee is hard to find, but look no further than Marine Lair. For a limited time, get 15% off with the code Campea at marinelair.com. That's Campea for 15% off your entire order at marinelair.com. Saving your closet one shirt at a time. Chris, number one, let's start with the harder to answer question. Do you think this will happen? And then, would you want it to happen? And if it did, what could you see Giancarlo Esposito playing?
It will happen. I want it to happen. I'm torn on some roles, though. Because Giancarlo has also come forward in interviews saying, I just want to play a good guy. You know, he plays villains so well. Because
he's so good at it, though.
He's so good at it. And him as a Lex Luthor, ooh. I mean, come on. So good. But he could also equally be an amazing Perry White. He could be an incredibly compelling, and it's mostly going to be CGI too, probably, John Jones.
Right, yeah.
Him as the detective version of him as John Jones would be incredible. I mean, DC too has such an incredible catalog of characters. By
the way, Chris is not talking about the UFC fighter. She's talking about the alias of Martian Manhunter.
There's a UFC fighter with the same name?
Heavyweight champion.
Does
John
he know?
Jones. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do they call him the Martian Manhunter?
Sports ball.
Buddy, you got to treat like SAG. You can only have so many names out there.
That's
okay?
True.
There can only be one. Highlander rules. One of you's got to go. That's why me and that juicer lady are like, well, one day we'll figure out who's the right Chris Carr.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I've come across her so many times when I'm doing
It's
searches.
why people too will be like, wow, Chris Carr looks really, really great for someone who's pushing 60. And I'm like, well, that one's not me, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. She's way healthier than me though. Oh my gosh. But I think that there's having somebody of this caliber too is what DC needs. We've talked about this so many times before. The DC catalog is so great. It has so many rich characters. It's so wonderful. And, you know, the movies just haven't always sung like they should. And I'm really hoping that by getting these high caliber writers, actors, these wonderful writers, a whole bunch of people to really lift up the DCU, we can really give this IP what it deserves. Really great stories with really great actors.
Ray, I got a picture hanging on the wall of my theater room of you, and a big picture of you and Giancarlo Esposito together.
Oh, wow.
You obviously like Giancarlo. Like, could you see him being in something like the DCU? Do you think maybe he's getting too overexposed in the geek community stuff? I don't know. What do you think?
No, you can never get enough of this actor. I can't get enough of this actor. He terrifies me when he speaks. Like when he
when he's being
speaks,
friendly.
like you did something wrong, and he's just saying nice things. There's like an eerie feeling I get just because of his tone. I love him as Brainiac. I never thought about that, like what you just suggested. That would be cool to me. I mean, wow. Like that name didn't even come up. I do like him as Brainiac. But of course, the DCU can use an actor of his caliber in it, whether he plays a good guy or bad guy. It'll be interesting to see if he plays a good guy. Just because it'll be
He's been saying he's wanted to do that for a long time.
not only do they get him in this universe, but him playing something completely different from what we're used to would be great too.
But it does limit, right? Because who could, in the hero side, who could we see him playing?
Anybody.
But really,
Yeah,
on the
right.
villain side, we seem to have a laundry list that we could pull out that villains, but other than maybe a brand new character that isn't in the comic pages, maybe a Green Lantern. I mean,
Alfred.
hey, don't laugh. I mean,
He could.
You've had some of the all-time greats, Jeremy Irons, Michael Caine. I mean, the people who have played Alfred is a Hall of Fame list of actors. I could totally see him playing a badass Alfred. I would love that.
Martian Manhunter too.
Yeah,
Well,
Martian
Chris,
Manhunter is the one that
looks
seems to
great, just because its voice in itself.
Yeah.
I hear.
Even though I think Martian Manhunter is the stupidest hero in the DC
What?
universe. I know everybody gets so mad at me when I say that.
That's like
I've
my
never
top
liked
3,
Martian
bro.
Manhunter.
Come on, get out.
Anyway,
Get out of here.
with that down, guys.
It's my show now.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.